Hello, my name is Dan McDuff, and today I'm looking at the intended target audience for our film trailer. To conduct this research, I first took a sample of film titles from a collection of people that I know. I then went online to find the top 10 grossing films from 2015. On top of these titles, I also added the titles that are inspirations for our trailer. First, I went to YouGov Profiles to search for the average stereotypical viewer of each of these film titles. When you look at the random samples, there's kind of a wide spread of results. However, the grouping is denser towards the middle of this 4-quadrant graph, and the most results of the average viewer kind of fell into the younger males category. The films that were outliers were Mean Girls and Sound of Music, due to them targeting both older and younger, mostly female audiences. White House Down was also an outlier, being suggested as being a film for older males, although I believe myself that it's quite a good film for any age. Next, I looked at the top 10 grossing films of 2015. Once again, the results were denser towards the middle of the graph, meaning they were enjoyed by all recorded demographics. This is the most likely reason why they were so successful, as they were films that all could enjoy. There were more films that were enjoyed mostly by males, and there were a lot of outliers, although it's likely that these outliers were popular with a large amount of people from that age/gender. For example, American Sniper is stereotypically likely to be a popular film for 40 to 45-year-old men, kind of due to the plot and basis of it, and that's probably why it was so popular despite being kind of an outlier from the centre of the graph. Finally, I looked at the 4 films that we thought had inspired us in one way or another, and noticed that our results were rather widespread in terms of age, but all of them kind of applied to both genders. Psycho is likely as far up on the chart as it is due to its age. Taken is also likely to be where it is, as once again, due to the basis and plot, it's kind of stereotypically a film that younger audiences probably wouldn't enjoy. Like, some would, but I reckon most younger audiences wouldn't enjoy it as much as older audiences. We can see that The Martian, which we thought inspired us from the character Mark recording his journey, is a film for all ages and both genders. The last film, Nerve, is a new film which seems to have a basis of internet culture. It's also the story of a school student, which not only means that the film can tailor to both genders, but that it also helps the target of a younger audience upon it being based on internet culture. From doing this research and under the consideration that our film idea is about internet culture, which is vlogging, and it will likely be a thriller and probably have a female protagonist, our target audience on the graph will likely be in the same age range as Nerve, but aimed more towards female audiences. The next thing I decided to do was look at the average audience areas on the graph for our random selection of films, the top 10 films and our inspiration films. These 3 areas met roughly in the middle of the graph, but once again tend slightly towards male viewership. The reasoning is probably that males stereotypically are more likely to show their interest in films than females. However, the predominantly female films on this graph all did extremely well, and their actual audience was the same as their intended target audience. This is evidence to show that a film doesn't become less popular simply because it's targeted at female audiences. When you look at the demographics for audiences of our inspiration films, you can see that all of them apart from Psycho had hit their intended target audience. The reason Psycho didn't is mostly due to the age of the film, therefore meaning it is currently most popular with older audiences. However, at the time it would have been intended for a younger audience, and at the time that's the audience it would have hit. The fact that our inspiration films mostly hit their intended target audiences will help us to figure out what our trailer's actual audience will be, as it's likely that it will be around our intended target audience. This would also help our film's popularity if we were truly to release it. And this is because most of the top 10 films from 2015 hit their intended target audience as well, and as we've seen, our inspiration films have hit their intended target audiences, and if they've done that and we're basing our film off of those ones, our film is also likely to hit that. Another reason that our film may gain boosted popularity is due to the current rise of the vlogging industry. I decided to do some research and went on to Google Trends. In November 2011, vlogging was 6% as popular as it is now. In November 2014, it was still only 21% as popular as today. In November of 2015, it was half as popular as it is now. So I think it's safe to assume that the interest in vlogging will continue to rise exponentially. Comparing vlogging to thriller films shows that the thriller films have actually been very, very slowly rising in popularity, although not really enough to document. However, in April 2015, vlogging actually became a more popular Google search than thriller films. I added to this trend comparison by adding research into the popular American vlogger and YouTuber Casey Neistat. As you can see from the graph, he's extremely popular. The term vlogging is only 15% as popular as his name, and thriller films are only searched for about 8% as much. Next, I compared the term YouTube to the searches cinema, box office, films, movies, Odeon and Empire. As you can see, YouTube is searched for at least 10 times as much as most of these other terms, and about 6 or 7 times as much as movies. Even Netflix comes out as a more popular search result than cinema. I conducted this research to represent the increasing popularity of internet culture and online videos and vlogs. As vlogging is going to be the basis of our film, I found it important to show that our film could perhaps make its way to the mainstream industry in this exponentially growing area.